Welcome to the Back Nine Six Pack with Mitch and Justin. Let's roll.
Welcome to episode 2 of the Back Nine Six Pack. My name is Mitch, as always joined by my esteemed colleague Justin. Episode 2, we're back. We did it.
Yeah. Well, we'll tell the story down the road, but this is technically episode 3.
Well,
but anywhere you listen to your podcast, this is episode 2.
Exactly.
So, huge shout out to everybody that listened as well. I know you probably had some people reach out to you. I had people, college teammates, some of our high school teammates reach out, and huge thank you for doing that.
Yeah. Just a quick story on my end. So my wife was actually listening to it on the way to pick our son up from school. So it was on in the car when she gets him, and it took me a minute to realize, but she said his eyes lit up, and he was like, "That's my dad," in the car.
On the radio.
On the radio. You know, that's a cool moment. I don't care. No matter how far this goes, I've got that moment to remember. So
yeah, still really cool.
Really excited to keep doing this. It's a ton of fun for us. So
yeah, hopefully everybody else gets the enjoyment out of it that we do. Yeah. Let's keep it rolling. You ready to let these fly? Let's do it.
Cheers.
Special happy hour edition of Back Nine Six Pack today. We usually do it a little bit later. It's a little earlier than normal, but the weekend.
So I didn't get to do much in terms of golf or anything. I'm at that age now, and I know you're already there, where kids sports and all that, and got a lot going on. So what's you got to play some golf?
Yeah, I got a special exception with softball practice going on Saturday. Brother's bachelor party. Yeah, so you could tell that we were all over 30, and we all had kids because we teed off at 8:30 in the morning. I was home by 5. So bachelor parties probably used very lightly. My golf game is an absolute mess right now. I had 5 birdies and still shot over par. Special edition for my brother. He, for his bachelor party, he cold topped the tee shot. Somehow ran out at 180 yards. Just banged one in the back of the jar from 165 yards out for an eagle. Watched it.
Amazing.
We were up on the next green, which is like kind of runs counter to that hole, and I saw him hit, lands, goes in. I think he wanted to take his shirt off, but he didn't. But it was a very, very subdued bachelor party because we're all older with kids, and I get to officiate that wedding in less than 3 weeks, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, Justin is ordained, so if you're getting married anytime soon and you'd love a podcast host to
I promise,
your wedding.
Yeah, not many. I mean, I won't use too many Hitch quotes in my ceremony, but I can't make any promises. But other than that, pretty subdued weekend. Like I said, I was home by 5, so it's not like I did anything real cool, or we did anything real cool for the bachelor party. So.
Yeah. Well, I know you played at Newman. This is a Cincinnati golf podcast, sorry, but Newman is a Cincinnati Recreational Commission.
6,100 yards.
Yep.
Greens were running about 12, and they were rock hard.
Awesome.
Our buddy Ryan, hit 2 greens in regulation on a 6,100-yard course. It was a tough scene.
Oh, man, you had to do that to him in the first 5 minutes of the podcast.
It was a tough scene. He'll even admit it. He was telling everybody about it afterwards. So he took it in stride, but it was a tough scene out there with him and with a wedge in his hand for sure.
That's what we like to hear heading into.
Hey, he's not your partner; he's my partner. So
yeah, and with that, I think we want to take a little bit of time here just to kind of talk about stuff's picking up at the Hamilton Elks. We're getting into event season. League's getting ready to kick off.
Yep.
Just take a little bit of time to talk about our golf goals for the year, just kind of outlook and what we're looking forward to for the season. So I'll start. 2022 was a big year for me.
Huge year.
On the golf course.
Yeah, absolutely.
We won, me and my buddy Gunth. We'll hear more from him at some point in time. Took down the Stampede, which is our huge member tournament. And I will say, look, I'm a process over results guy. The results were there last year for me. I played some really stinky golf to get to those points, though.
It was not good for the first 2 months of the season last year for you?
Yeah, 2021, I was actually, our league is two 10-week sessions. I won both sessions.
Somehow.
Had a fantastic summer. I played pretty well. Last year, just off the tee game was just gone for a good 2-month period.
Yeah, and you had a 2-way miss going too, which is that's not usually your game. You're usually, you got one miss.
Yeah. And this was, I mean, the variance between the two misses was
100, at least 100 yards.
Yeah, we're talking we got the rope hooks going left, or just the mega block, the parlor ball, if you will, just way right. So yeah, this year we're looking for a little more consistency. I've only got one logged round in right now. It turned out to be a 77 somehow.
Yeah, that's the day you beat me.
Yeah, so I'm gonna keep bringing that one up. Don't worry about that. But handicap's sitting at a 7.1, my index. So to get into goals for the year, I'll kick it off too. I would love to get my handicap to start with a 5.
And I think it's doable, especially with the new handicap system too.
Yeah.
You get a couple good scores in there. You can dropping a stroke and an index is pretty easy. Yeah, not easy, but it definitely is easier than it used to be. 2 shots with where you were 2 years ago to last year. I mean, yeah, I think that's pretty doable. It's very doable.
Even if we get to 5.9, that'll be a victory for me here. I'm team post it. You're going to post every score. I don't do any of I'm not here for the handicap manipulation. So whatever it is at the end of the year will be
your handicap is your handicap.
Correct. But, I really want to, let's dial it in a little bit on the tee, hit some more greens this year so I'm not punching out half the time.
More fairway finders, maybe.
Yeah, we'll get it around and get it in the hole a little bit better than we did last year. How about you? High level, what are you looking at for the year?
So, I mean, obviously, for us, like, the Stampede is, the one that everybody wants to win.
That's our major.
Yeah, that's everything for everybody. That's the one I want to win. But, I mean, I guess outside the Elks, my big goal this year was to make the match play of our city tournament. Took 3 over last year. Outside of 4 holes, I would have made the match play last year, but I decided to make 4 doubles. And I don't care how good you are at golf, coming back from doubles and when you're talking, you got to be 3 over in 2 days. Not easy. So that's my big goal. And then, again, I probably don't play near enough golf to do this, but, maybe I catch one of those days. I'm playing in multiple USGA qualifiers this year. Never played in the USGA event at the national level. Like, I played in sectional qualifiers and local qualifiers and things like that. But to make a USGA event that's the ultimate goal. But again, I don't play enough. I don't play enough serious golf, I feel like, and I'm not trying to get too boring, but that's been my goal since I was probably 14.
So what I was going to ask you off of that, as you've kind of gotten farther away from your quote unquote competitive golf career, have those goals changed at all, or are you still looking kind of at the same things?
No, I mean, those are the 2 main ones, but like as far as ones that like that I would say that have changed, right? Like, I have down here, it's like, I want to win our club championship, right? I've never done that. Last 2 years, I couldn't play in it because we had this is how important this is to me, had a neighborhood scramble that I played in. Like, I didn't win it for the first 2 years I lived in the neighborhood. I'm like, I'm playing in this thing until I won it. Well, we won it last year. It just so happens is not falling on the same weekend this year. So that goal is more than alive. And then, I didn't play well in our match play tournament out at the Elks. Would love to win that again. I won it 2 years ago. Didn't win it last year. Just ran into a hot putter from my opponent. But, I guess maybe that's how they've changed. And really just, the main goal I think most people have, right, is not to hit any S words.
Yeah.
I'm running on a hot streak right now of about 4 years that I haven't hit one of those. So we'll try to keep that going this year as well.
Yeah, and from an event perspective, I know you and Ryan last year won the McGonigal, which is another member we have.
Yep.
27-hole event. What is it? Best ball, alternate shot,
and then scramble. And we just caught a heater that day. I mean,
look, I don't want to make this like a bash on Ryan podcast, but I'm sorry. Like I've made the joke before. I think you yourself could have won the tournament that day. That's how good you were.
I did play well, and it all started. Remember the picture? Well, it's not my Twitter handle anymore, or my Twitter picture anymore. But that day started out with me sitting alone at a Waffle House counter, eating Waffle House all by myself, and Yeah, and then just kind of, I probably need to do that more often, apparently.
That is an iconic photo credit again.
Maybe we need to, we'll post it on one of our handles just so people can see it. But that's how that day started out. But yeah, we won that last year. And I think for us, it was a good turnaround because we didn't play very well in the Stampede. I don't think either of us really played well in the Stampede. So, obviously, does everybody want to win everything they play in? But I think if I could trade the McGonigal for the Stampede again, I would 100% do that. So,
yeah, it's a nice bonus. It's kind of like back when the PGA Championship was in August. Some guys that had lackluster major seasons would go win that one, and it makes up for a lot, right?
Yep, exactly. But
so yeah, we've got league is starting up. I started putting you on the spot. Do you know the date?
Yeah, I think it's like May 3rd or 4th, whatever that first Wednesday is in May.
About 2 weeks then. So,
and that's when you got 20 weeks of golf on Wednesday, which is, it seems like such a long break after the league ends to get to that point. But yeah, 20 more weeks starting May 4th. I think it's May 4th, and that's league nights are always fun.
We will have some hashtag content coming out around our league nights for sure.
Hopefully we get some stymie games in this year without being murdered by our significant others,
or the sprinklers that decide to come on,
or that. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's awesome. I think that's enough Elks talk, but really cool just to hear where you're looking for the season.
Yeah, and we'll keep obviously when things happen, we'll let you know. But I think we got some plans for that stuff down the road that we're going to kind of spotlight that stuff. So
definitely. All right, well, moving on from us to professional golf. RBC Heritage was this weekend. Matt Fitzpatrick won in a playoff over Jordan Spieth.
Dodged bullets left and right. And then,
my God, yes, he did. I didn't get to catch much of this one. Usually this is traditionally the week after the Masters. You get a few, good players at this event, but, this year it was a designated event, which if you're not following the PGA Tour closely, they've got these sort of elevated events that have massive purses to try to get all the, the big players all together at once. So this field was phenomenal for this one. And it was such it kind of caught me off guard because this is such usually like a sleeper. Yeah, you get
you get a guy that wins that's gets into the century, next year that's maybe not heard of him. I can't remember the guy that won 4 or 5 years ago. I never heard of him before he
probably
won.
Satoshi Kodaira.
Yeah. So you usually get guys like that, but obviously not this year with the loaded event. Other than Rory, I think pretty much everybody played other than Rory, right?
Yeah, which we'll see what happens with that. He didn't give a reason for withdrawing, but I know there's all kinds of rules around. Yeah. You can only miss one of these. This is his second miss, so there might be a fine at play.
Yep.
Who knows? We'll hear from Rory eventually on that. Just real quick on the 3-hole playoff. Jordan Spieth, man, he had 2 10-foot putt opportunities to put it away.
It's so him though. It's he just struggles to slam the door shut sometimes, and that just perfect example. It's you have 2 shots. I knew as soon as he missed the one on 17, I'm like, there's no way, he's going to lose now. You had 2 shots. He's lucky he even had 1 shot. He had 2 shots at closing the door. Couldn't do it. Jordan Spieth style. And then, of course, it's you hit at the 5, Fitzpatrick hits at the 5 inches on the last hole. I was I knew something like that was coming. It had to, and maybe I was in the back of my mind, I was hoping for betting reasons that Jordan Spieth would be the one that would do that, close the door. And then Fitzpatrick just absolutely takes advantage of it, and that's what happens, right?
Before we get to your betting woes, which might be a more interesting story here, but
might be a therapy session.
Yeah, we'll let you have your cathartic experience here. Matt Fitzpatrick, super cool for him to win this event. I know he's a long time on tour. He has said this is the event he wants to win.
Which is cool.
You heard a lot about the stories, of his family coming here for years and years, for vacation. He's got the driver head cover of the lighthouse at the course.
I knew he kind of talked about it before that, but then I saw that on his bag and I'm like, is he a tourist, going into the pro shop and buying that before the event? Someone that, obviously can't Monday qualify into the elevated events, but it's just some dude just Monday qualified and just I'm going to bring a memento home for this, But, yeah, it's pretty cool.
No, so it's cool for him to finally knock that one off and kind of out of nowhere. I know he's been dealing, I guess, with some injury issues this year. He's missed several cuts until top 10 at the Masters last week, so kind of nice to see him back in the mix.
Yeah, he did not play well in the beginning of the year at all.
No, a lot of mistakes.
I kept betting him, and it's like, I think he missed it at Pebble, and then I think he missed at the Waste Management. Like, he was just not playing good golf, and kind of turned around pretty quickly. I mean, that was not that long ago, and now he finally gets a win. So
yeah, awesome for him. Spieth is just knocking on the door left and right. Just one other mention too, because I swear to God, every time I turn on the broadcast, sitting there at like 4 or 5 is Sahith Theegala.
Every event,
event,
like every single. It feels like every single event. Well, we talked about it last week. Like, he backed into a top 12 with a 67 on Sunday. It's like the guy is just there, and it's like when he finds a way to win. It's gonna be like, I feel like it's gonna be like the floodgates are gonna open, and he's gonna win a decent amount. Like, a decent amount, it was 3-4 times, but I think once he gets that first one, it's gonna be like he's gonna be here, and
yeah,
because he's always right there, like every event, and he plays a lot.
Oh yeah,
he kind of has to, because he's kind of one of those guys. He's trying to earn his way onto the tour, but. He plays a lot, and it's like it just seems like he never has a week off, as far as play goes. And he's just top 10 machine. So
yeah,
kind of reminds me of Tony Finau.
That's a pretty good comp. I mean, he's obviously a lot younger than Tony was when he kind of entered the scene. But yeah, in terms of like just always there and not quite crossing the finish line, yeah, I can see that.
And it's cool to see him have the success this year after the Netflix special. It kind of he was sitting at home for the Masters and stuff like that. It's like, it's cool to see him. Like, he's gonna end up working his way into a lot of majors by being, top 60 in the world, top 50 in the world. So
yeah, definitely. All right, I'll give you the floor now. What happened?
Well,
this week?
So it started out on Thursday. So I had a Victor Hovland first round leader ticket, and I'm sitting there on Thursday, and I'm like, I had cash out options pretty much the entire day because Victor went off early. Shoots 64. I'm like, all right, well, let's see how it plays out. And maybe I just cash it out, like, after lunchtime, after we start seeing what some of the afternoon rounds are going. And I'm like, if a chef was up there at 5 under through 10 holes, like, probably going to pull the trigger, right? I'm not going to let it sit. I have Rye sitting there, right? Aaron Rye. Aaron Rye. And then who else? Who was the other one? I can't remember off the top of my head, but Aaron Ryan. I'm like, okay, no way he's shooting 64 because I would have cashed it out. I had a cash out option at about 6 o'clock on Thursday for about $4 less than I was going to win for the entire bet. And I'm like, no, it's like, okay, that's $4. I probably should have taken it. Hindsight's 20/20. And then I wake up on Friday morning. Totally forget about it. They got suspended because they had some bad weather roll through. So Aaron Rye did not finish his round on Thursday. He finished it on Friday. Totally forgot about it. Pulled up at like 12 o'clock on Friday. Aaron Rye birdies 2 out of the last 3 holes to get the first round leader. And I wanted to throw my phone through a wall. But and we talked about it, 16, 17, 18. Those are some of the harder holes on that course. Like, as far as like, you're like, okay, even if he birdies one, I'm tying, right? I'll split the odds, whatever. Dude goes out and birdies. If I can remember right, I think he birdied 16 and 18. Which 18's it's not an easy hole.
No.
We saw that yesterday. Like, Fitzpatrick hit the shot of his life to birdie that hole. So that happened. Then I made a bet. This event always seems that guys can't pull away. Like, it always just seems so bunched up. Like, even yesterday, you had 12 guys that were within 3 shots of the lead. It felt like the entire tournament.
Yeah, it felt like going into round 4, there was like 20 guys within, at least 4 or 5 shots. So
I'm like, all right, karma's on my side. Aaron Rye screwed me on the first round leader bet. I was like, I'm going to win this. I made a bet that was going to end in the playoff. And then I had a Jordan Spieth ticket. And when I saw Jordan make the turn and then flush one into the water on 10, I'm like, oh, here we go. Like, there goes probably the playoff ticket and him. Somehow pulls it around. I win the playoff ticket, which I'm not getting greedy. I already did it once this week. And then I was like, all right, karma's going to let me double dip this. I'm going to get a Jordan Spieth win in a playoff. And it just wasn't meant to be. And, it seems like, especially in golf, especially betting golf, as soon as you think you have a win, that's exactly when you're not going to win. And that pretty much happened to me all weekend. It was a tough scene, but I wasn't planning on betting this week with the team format, but I'm sure we'll have some. I'm sure we'll have some bets in the group chats and stuff.
Yeah, I got to have some juice, something to look at,
Yeah, exactly. But I won't. We'll leave it at that. Aaron Rye seems like a nice guy, but I hate you. So there you go.
2 gloves.
He's just
club covers.
Oh gosh, of all the guys, he's got iron covers too.
He did it to you.
Just an absolute kick in the nuts. So,
well,
yeah, we'll get past it, but not for a little bit.
Truly, you hate to see it. I guess one more thing we probably should talk about is the Cantlay shot off the woodwork,
the one that took 45 minutes to hit.
Yeah, I heard a lot of that going around about Spieth and Fitzpatrick feeling like they got ice there, and especially coming off all the slow play talk from the Masters, and him with the joke of the ace, like, oh look, I'm trying to play faster.
Yeah, awesome shot. I was so glad he hit it because I was like, please do not take a drop. Like, I want to see you hit this shot, and he didn't. But it's also like, I was cooking dinner. I think we talked about it, like you were cooking dinner too. I was cooking dinner and I went out. I'm like, all right, I don't want to miss this shot. And went out and he still hadn't hit. I'm like, and he's up. But awesome shot. I can't believe he pulled it off.
I
was fully expecting that to kick back into the water.
I don't know how the ball did what it did. I don't know.
Kind of defied physics a little bit.
There's no way I don't just catch that so thin and go back to where I started and then chip it back into the water from there.
99.9% of us are going to be putting that in the water. We're not going to hit it properly to get it some type of front spin to get it over that. But I mean, it was a cool shot. It's just I wish it wouldn't have taken 10 minutes for him to hit.
Yeah, same. Complete agreement. And I lied. Not the last thing we're going to talk about with the RBC Heritage.
The most important part.
The most important part. We got to figure out who needed the back nine 6-pack this week. I got to tell you, look, we got some very, very clear candidates, and I think it's a clear winner.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk through it real quick. Number one, shout out to one of our associates, Nick, correspondent in the field.
Yeah, always dropping the takes and letting us know what's going on.
Got his eyes out there on everything, which we appreciate. Kevin Kisner on Thursday goes out 37 on his first nine, which was actually the back nine.
Yep.
So he's 2 over, not, we could save that. We could save that.
I mean, he just got off to a slow start, It is what it is. That happens sometimes.
Makes a turn to the first hole, an immediate triple.
And number one is not, I mean, it's a little tight, but it's definitely not true. You really got to try to triple that hole.
Yeah, long story short, he goes on to shoot a 42 on that side for a 79 and withdrawals from the tournament. Massive disclaimer here. Kids, if you're injured, we are very sorry that you're in this conversation. But 79 and a withdrawal, you're in consideration.
It puts me in a tough spot as the president of the Kisner fan club in Cincinnati. But that was bad.
Also, by the way, just back to last week, you giving Kiz as your biggest disappointment at the Masters, it didn't hit me at the time how just egregious that was. But my God, man.
He's my disappointment.
I know.
Not everybody's disappointment, my disappointment. And again, it's just, he's making it hard this year.
We've done 2 shows and he's come up twice now in negative context. So,
yeah, I know. God, I love him so much, but he's making it really hard right now. Yeah. He's making it hard for me to stand up for him. That's what he's making it hard to do. But that's tough. That's a good candidate right there. I mean, 37, you got off to a slow start. You probably could have used a little gasoline on the back,
Yeah.
But yeah, that back nine did not get off to a good start, and then I think he bogeyed 3 more holes after that. He actually was 4 over in the first 4 holes on the back nine. So, yeah, not great.
Especially Kiz. I mean, noted fan of beer.
Yeah, noted fan of beer. And, the fact that it's that course, of all courses they play during the year, that sets up for him the best, right? Kind of tight, doesn't reward the long hitters as much. And just, you end up as a candidate for the back nine 6-pack. So,
Yep, this one I think is more of a honorary mention because I think we need to watch this. We're going to monitor the situation because I think
Yeah, we don't want to kick anybody while they're down.
No, but this is a player I've got my eye on to eventually win one of these because I've seen it before.
Yeah.
Keegan Bradley. So goes into Sunday at 9 under par, 5 shots out of the lead, which there's a lot of guys up there. Who knows what can happen? Goes on to shoot 4 over. It's like one of the worst rounds of the day. A birdieless 75.
Yeah, that's not good for those guys. No birdies.
Yeah, to drop down to a tie for 48th, one of the worst rounds of the day. He went 37-38.
Probably cost himself $100,000.
Oh, maybe more than that in a designated event. Yeah, lots of points and money out the door. I just wanted to mention it. We've got our eyes on this for the future.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely one, just knowing his rounds in the past, that eventually we'll get one of these. I don't think it's going to be this week.
No, I distinctly remember around, I say distinctly, and I couldn't tell you what year, but I'm pretty sure it was at the Valspar, where he was the first round leader and then ended up missing the cut. So
yeah,
there's potential here.
Yeah, he has the potential. He's here this week as a candidate. But not quite.
And I think we can just give it away now here, but we'll go through the exercise. Again, massive disclaimer in case this guy's hurt.
Again, don't want to. You're hurt. You're hurt.
Yeah.
Like, I think we've all been there on the golf course, right? Like, you're just not the same if you have any injuries. But man,
now there is a difference between being hurt and injured.
There is.
So, anyway, yes. Round 1 for one, Mr. Dylan Fratelli. Shoots 40-40, and so we're talking an 80 in the first round. Major props showing up the next day. Could have withdrawn.
He could have. Yeah, and he had an don't skip this part. He had an 8 the first round.
Yeah, he
on
shot
his
80
second
with the
hole of the day.
Mm.
And 2 and 5, most would argue, are the 2 most birdieable holes on that entire golf course, by the way. And he took an 8.
Yeah, that's.
But kudos to coming back the next day. We'll give him that.
We'll give him that, but then I'm going to immediately take those kudos away. Again, massive disclaimer if you're hurt, yeah. Mr. Fratelli. I apologize if that's the case. But goes out for round 2, starts on the back 9. We go bogey, bogey, double, par, bogey, triple.
They're 8.
Triple. 2 pars to close it out for a 46 and a withdrawal.
Ugh, that's tough. That's two 8s, and then you the next round you have 2 triples back to back. Yeah, I mean, I don't. Look, Kiz didn't come back for Friday, but maybe he was on to something. Maybe old Dylan shouldn't have came back for the second round.
Well, this is where you go. I mean, you're making the turn. You already shot 46. You got to see this through. This is where you get the back.
Yeah, I would have loved him to challenge it out and see if he could break 90. Because he was on pace to not break 90 at that point.
Yeah, this is professional pride.
Yeah,
if I go out there and shoot 46, I'm turning to the back. We're grabbing beers at the turn, and we're going to see what happens.
And in the words of our buddy Gumph, he's like, "You ain't fucking quitting." That's exactly what he told me in the USAM qualifier last year after I stumbled through with an 83 the first round. And, I again, we started drinking. I started playing a little bit better, like a little bit, but maybe that's what Dylan needed. Yeah, that's tough, but I think this is a runaway candidate here. It's got to go to him. 2 triples back to back, and then you WD before the back 9. Don't even give it a chance. So yeah, I think he's the runaway winner this week.
Full agreement here. Dylan Fratelli is the second winner of the Who Needed the Back 9 6-pack this week award. Kudos
to Jason Day though for not blocking us for giving him the first one. So
if he even somehow saw anything we tweeted or posted,
I don't know. I feel like there's some guys that see everything, and it's like, and maybe he has someone running his account, but like I feel like the guys that run their accounts see more than most.
Yeah,
but he might have like someone running it. But kudos to him for not blocking us for making fun of his second or fourth round 80 at the Masters. But all right, so moving on.
We have a special segment here. We've been eyeing this. We had to get it out of the way right in episode 2. We've thought about this since this was an idea. Power rankings are going to be a big part of the show, specifically 6-pack power rankings.
Yes.
Obviously. We have decided to power rank our best golf beers, situationally speaking, right? We're going to go 6-1, as always.
Yep.
Would you like the honor? Or?
Yeah, I'll hit lead off here.
Right.
So my first one is going to be a post double bogey or worse beer. You just come off double, maybe triple, pull the old Dylan Fratelli and go triple. You're just like, you know what? I need one. And you hit it and you're like, everything seems to be better at that point. It's an underrated one, and probably one that probably doesn't land in the top 6 for most people, but I'll tell you, it kind of just chases away the bad thoughts pretty quickly. So that's my 6.
I think this is going to come down to semantics on a lot of these.
A lot of them might be the same, just different wording. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So we'll get to my version of that because I think, this might be your good player privilege showing. These things have an accumulative effect when you're,
that could happen handicap. 5 or 6 times.
Exactly.
In a round for some people. Yep.
So we were texting a little bit earlier about this, and I told you this could be a little controversial. I only said that because given the name of our show, my number 6 golf beer.
Oh no.
Is the beer at the turn.
Oh man. Yeah, that is definitely controversial.
I think
I will tell you, that's inside the top 3 for me.
Okay. Understood. I get it. For me, I just looked at this list and I was like, it's almost like a given. Like it's there for me anytime I want it.
Yes. Correct.
And sort of a theme of this list for me is these are like very, very specific situations for me.
Yes. That's pretty much how I broke them down too.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the turn beer deserves to be on the list, but it's not a top 3 for me.
So you're saying it's like that's the girl you're going to marry, but you want to date around a little bit. That's pretty much what you're telling us.
Your words, not mine. Your words, not mine.
All right. That I could see how that could be controversial given the name of our podcast, but I get it. It's not the best one. It isn't the best one. It's the most crucial one. Can we agree on that? But it's not the best one.
Yeah,
and we're going for best, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Are we going to go?
Yeah, go ahead. You go.
We'll go snake draft style.
Yep.
I'll give my number 5. This is the one I was talking about that's very similar to your post double bogey or worse beer. I like to call this the Lee Corso beer, a.k.a. the fuck it. This is the beer you have. This is the beer you have when you come out there, you're like, man, I'm not drinking today. I'm going to play some golf today. And there's a point in this round for everyone where you just get to the point where it's fuck it. And you hope your buddy's got beers in the cart, and you're like, give me one. And everything's better.
So it's crazy. This happens to me in tournaments a lot. Because, like, when I'm playing I'm drinking some beers, right? Like, I'm not, like, since I still play some competitive golf, like, I'm like, this is nothing. Like, even if it's a money game, like, I'll go out and drink. But that happens to me a lot in tournaments where I'll make the turn, I'm like, man, why am I taking this so fucking seriously? Like, let's get a 6-pack or whatever. Like, hell, even if a cart girl's driving around in one of these tournaments, like, I'm grabbing something. And it's funny, I actually had a kid in a tournament. I say kid because he was 20 years old. He's like, are we even allowed drinking in this tournament? I'm like, I just shot 83. Yes, we can.
Permission granted.
Yeah. And if we can't, I'm like, DQ me,
Fair.
That's a good one. I like that one because I think a lot of people do go out sometimes. They're like, I'm going to take this so seriously. I'm going to shoot the best round of my life. And 4 holes in, it's like, why did I do this?
Yeah.
Like, why did I put myself in this situation? So I think in fairness, we kind of talked about this earlier today, but this is the one that I have at 5 is the Frost Delay beer.
I have the Frost Delay beer at number 4.
And I should say, with an asterisk, mostly on a golf trip. Because if you're out playing at your home course, like you're probably still sucking down a coffee that you grabbed on the way into the course, right?
Yeah, or maybe you made a call just to check,
you made a call and you're like, hey, we're an hour behind or whatever. This is probably done mostly on a golf trip. For us, the first time we did it was on a golf trip, and tell you, it killed that time really quickly, and still some of the best summer shandy we've ever had in our entire lives. And I don't know if that's even debatable.
No, not debatable. And the thing about it is, like, specific to this one instance, like,
It just set the tone for the day,
exactly.
really.
So what the Frost Delay beer does is it just puts you on a different trajectory for the day. Because you weren't planning to be there necessarily. And
you might have 2 or 3 beers before you even hit your first golf shot.
right. You got the swing juice, you're good to go. For me, that day specifically that you're talking about, I was just kind of dragging. I was like, it was cold. I was like, we had just played.
And then we kind of, we didn't have a long night the night before, but like we kind of got after it a little bit. You know what I mean? And it was like, we're rolling in for like, I think we teed off at like, we're supposed to tee off at like 8:30 or something like that.
Yeah, and the day before we played at Otter Creek and it was like 30 and snowing, and I was just like not prepared to go back out with the full gear on.
And it was supposed to be like 55 this day, but it was, it was. Got our heads right.
I wasn't even going to get a beer, and then you guys all ordered the shandies, and I just looked at it and I was like, this shandy is different. And so I had to order one.
Like the sun was coming through the windows, hitting it, but yeah, it just gets your mind right, and it gets you in a place where you're like, and again, you don't do this at your home. You probably are not ever going to. I don't think I've ever done it at our, at
no, the 2 times I've done it,
it's always been on a golf trip.
Yeah.
So, but I think for what it does, yeah, definitely, this was 5 for me. Underrated, highly underrated. Yeah, and I don't think most people even think about it, to be honest.
No. So if you're on a trip, you get a Frost Delay.
Yeah.
Just try it.
Grab you a Frost Delay beer. Yes. All right.
That was my number 4, so I'm going to pass it back to you for your number 4.
So my number 4, golf tournament viewing beer. So you go. So
I didn't even consider this. That's a miss on my part.
I go to the Memorial every year. Actually, I go up multiple days, and there is just nothing like walking through those gates. And the Memorial serves summer shandy, and you just boom, double fisting summer shandies as soon as you walk through the gate. And then, like I said, usually that's in May. Even if regardless, it's just a good beer. Like you see the guy on TV. Like how many pictures have we seen of like dudes just double fisting in the back, and CBS shows a view of them. Like. Yeah, it's just a top-notch beer.
There's like 20 cups in there.
Like, it's like, what are you going to do? Walk around and like drink water watching golf? Like, you're not playing. You definitely don't have to take it, too seriously. And again, it does matter though what kind of beer they're serving, because there was a Memorial tournament. This might have been 12 years ago, and it was like the beer selection was not great. They've gotten a lot better, but. That was like one of the ones, and I think if you go back in the years that I've been to the Memorial, I think I post a picture every time. Like that Friday when I go up there, I always go up on Friday. Boom, picture, beer, doesn't matter what time. And that's another thing, doesn't matter what time, no judgment. So that was 4 for me.
Yeah, I think that's an oversight for my list. I'm still happy with my list, but that's an easy one. I'll take number 3 here since we.
All right, go for it.
Sort of related to some of the other ones we said, but the first beer of a golf trip.
Oh my gosh, that was my 3 too. Which I think if you look at it like that, there's certain ones going to be in the top 3, and then I know we're already going to differ on one of them, but that is like an automatic top 3 beer. Like,
yeah, it's like the anticipation you have for it.
Yeah, especially like for us, like with kids, it's like. You're like heading out of town. It's like, yeah, the anticipation, the buildup of it is just overwhelming.
Yeah, and it's like you don't really know when it's going to happen because, so a lot of times you're driving, traveling, or whatever somewhere. So, you just don't know when it's going to hit you, and then it does, and then it kind of like sets the tone for the rest of the trip.
Yeah.
And it's just a critical beer in golf.
Yeah, because then it's your first one that's probably going to be of many, right? Like, going into the second day, there's just never going to be that feeling of the first beer of that trip, right? You're just not going to get it the rest of the time. So, yeah, that's funny that landed on the same one. That definitely a top 3 beer on the golf course, for sure.
Love it. All right, so that puts we're going number 2 for you then.
So, I told you my 1 and 2 were pretty liquid. And this is only because I don't think I've had this one in a while that I'm going to move it down to 2. Post-win beer. Doesn't matter if it's $10 off your buddy, a tournament, whatever it is. Hole in one. I've never had one, but a hole in one, like any kind of win. Just like I can tell you my best memories of golf and having a beer were after wins. Like college. Like we took us 3 years to win our first Division II tournament. We had a gigantic party that night after we won our home tournament, and then like after Stampedes, like heck, I think I even got after it with you guys when you guys won. I'm like, the post-win beer is just, while not my number one, definitely up there.
Yeah.
And by the way, a beer that doesn't even be drink fully. You spray it around, you drink some of it, you're spraying some of it, like just top notch.
It's truly a celebration.
Yes.
So I don't have the post-win beer on mine, but that's obviously an excellent call. That maybe says more about me. Maybe I don't win enough to know.
I said it doesn't have to be much. Like you can win.
True.
You can win a game of Tillet on a Saturday. Like that beer tastes differently, with more money in your pocket.
Yeah, I think maybe my number 2 kind of reflects the post-win beer in some ways, depending on the day. My number 2 is the patio beer. So it's a general category.
It is very general. And I had that one originally. I just thought it might be a little too general.
Which is fair. My thing about the patio beer is this is the beer that keeps you coming back.
That's true.
No matter if you walk off that course and you, like you said, just won something, won some money off your buddies, and you're just reveling in your own glory, or if you're sitting back there, it's a time for you to sit down, collect your thoughts, and just be like, if
that 92 didn't feel that bad.
Yeah, like I hit it pretty good. I just didn't score. It's like if I didn't have those 3 triples, I would have shot 80. Like it's the time for you to just
reflect.
Mm-hmm. And patio beers, you're making connections.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I think everybody kind of comes together. I was trying to be a little more specific, but I guess like that's still a great number 2 to me. I wouldn't disagree with it being in the top 3. I think honestly, a winning beer, like after a win, could be categorized under a patio beer, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So our number ones.
And I think, like I said earlier, this whole list speaks to kind of me as a person, I think. And there are a few things that I love more in life than when an unexpected good time breaks out. And so for me, this is, again, a very broad category, and I'm going to run down some examples.
I like where this is going already.
The unexpected beer in golf. This is when you show up to a scramble you've never played in before, and all of a sudden you find out there's kegs every 3 holes. This is when you're playing in league night behind a group, and the group in front of you, a guy makes a hole-in-one, and you're
Next
going back.
Next thing you know, you're not paying to drink the rest of the day.
Going back for patio beers. This is when you don't know that there's a beverage cart, and all of a sudden, hole
there
3,
she is. Yeah,
the bev cart comes rolling around, and you're obligated to buy. Like this, to me, it is just that moment, that feeling of excitement of like something that you did not expect happening in a good way happens.
I could see that. Well, and then like when you said that the bev cart, right? You're like, oh man, it's like I didn't get anything before we started. Here we go. Like I'm gonna have to wait until we make the turn, and then boom, like 4th hole, Savior comes in. Yeah, I like that one. I didn't even have it on my list. I'd throw it in an honorable mention category for sure. But no, it's a good one. But again, it's more personal feeling, right? Like, and I like that one. That's a good one.
Think about it. You're playing in league night. You didn't grab beers, but then the guy you're playing with
just grabbed you a couple extra ones.
Hey,
yeah.
Hey, man, I got some beers in the cooler. Feel free, help yourself.
I agree with that.
These are the moments I live for.
Yeah. The ones that you think you're like, oh man, like I'm gonna have to go up and I'm gonna have to buy my own beer, and then someone has a hole-in-one. Yeah, that's a fantastic feeling, which has happened in our league night a couple times.
Yeah, shout out Brian Herrig, who made an ace on. I was playing number 4 on red. He was playing 5 red.
And I was playing 7, and I heard them cheering. I'm like, this is great.
Yeah, I saw the swing, didn't see the result of the shot, but I saw everyone go crazy, and it was awesome just knowing.
Yeah,
like
I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna put
I
had a tab at the thing. I'm like, I'm gonna go close this thing out as soon as I get up there. Yeah, I like that. I like that one. Didn't think about it, but now that I think about it, I don't know if it'd still be in my top 6. But it's definitely like maybe 7 or 8, probably. Yeah.
I mean, that's generous for you to reach across the aisle that way.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, again, we knew this was going to be a disagreement. The turn beer. You know, it's number 1. It's always there. When you need her, she's there. You know when it's coming. There's no surprises, right? There's never a surprise. You know where you're going to get it at. It's after 9. It's not like some magical, fairy needs to show up on hole 3 that you weren't expecting. Like, she's going to be there at the turn. Oh. She's going to be there at your best times. She's going to be there at your worst times. She's always going to be there. And it's the beer you marry, right? And you can get 2. You can get 9. No one's going to judge you. If you're playing really bad.
That's not a recommendation, by the way.
No, not a recommendation, but no one's going to judge you by the amount you get at the turn. And that's why it's my number 1. It's probably the most crucial one. Because, especially if you play in the morning, you're probably not going to be drinking a beer at 7:45. That's reckless, not on a golf trip. So you're making the turn, it's 10:30. You're like, all right, now, okay, this is a little more socially acceptable to have a beer at this time. And you grab one. All around, they're always dependable. And that's why it's my number 1. Dependency.
I totally... I get where you're coming from. This is fantastic. This worked out this way that it's 6 for me and 1 for you.
Yeah, it's just the dependability of that beer, and you know when it's coming. There's never, sometimes patio beers never happen, right? I got to rush out of here for a game. The turn beer is always going to be there. Yeah. Always. So that's why it's my number 1.
If we have any fans out there that are psychologists, I would love to know what the breakdown is here for the difference between our number 1s. It's
the wife of beers, So
the wife of beers, I love that. That's great.
Oh, that was good. Well, I liked it.
Yeah, that was awesome. Those
if yours differ from ours, let us know.
Yeah, hit us up. We'll probably post something on social for this, and feel free to hit us in the comments with your favorite beers in golf. Moving on, speaking of patio beers, it's that time of the show.
Oh, man, do I have a good one. Oh, I love
You've had me scared all day. You literally told me that this question was going to put my mind in a pretzel, and I'm just not prepared.
It might put everybody's mind in a pretzel. And honestly, if there's any residual effects from this, I apologize. Because I'm going to say a word that shouldn't be said.
Oh, God. All right, well, just as a reminder, Patio Beers is our segment where we ask each other a question. We did not pre-screen with one another.
No pre-screening. The producers did not sign off on this.
Anything goes in the patio, so I guess we've set this up enough. Go ahead, ask
All
away.
Right. Would you rather have the putting yips for the rest of your life or never be able to break 90 again?
Oh. God, that is a painful question.
So putting yips for the rest of your life. And when I say putting yips, even the 6-incher is not good. They rake it away. Oh, I'll never miss these. No. When you have the putting yips, there's nothing good. 6 inches, 4 inches, doesn't matter. You're just not confident from anywhere on the putting green. And that includes inside a foot.
Yeah, I think that's no way to live. I think I'll take shooting 90 or above the rest of my life over that. The more I think about it, the more this is clear to me. It's fine. I can have a lot of fun playing golf, shooting in the 90s. If I just literally am out there and I won't even say the word. I can't do that. I would not survive that.
I was in that boat, and then I thought about it because I've had them very, very badly before, and the thought of, well, essentially for me too, playing golf for as long as I did and getting to a point where I did, where I'm I was pretty good, and I've regressed a little bit, but I was pretty good. I don't know if I could go back to shooting in the 90s all the time. I'll take the pain of missing a handful of 2-footers in a round to still be able to maybe break 90.
I just feel like it would just be,
because it doesn't mean you're gonna miss every single one, but you're just gonna be shaking and your heart's gonna be pounding over everything inside 4 feet, essentially.
The physical and mental toll that would take on me, I would quit the game, and that's why I think I'm gonna sign up for shooting 90 or above.
Okay, I get where you're coming from, because I thought about it. I was when I was asking myself that question, I'm which one would I take? And after really processing it,
I will say, I guess in the context of our games, for me, putting is a lot of times my saving grace, and I think if I just didn't have that,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you put my ball striking and put the Y word on top of it,
it could be bad.
We're already shooting in the 90s.
I get that. Yeah, because my thing is I've never, like, until recently, like, I've never been a good putter, and I'm starting to get better, and I think it's because I'm getting older, and I'm, like, actually, when I go, I don't go just hit balls. Like, I'd rather go putt than hit balls, so I've gotten better at putting, but in reality, for the first 20 years of my golfing life, I was, like, one of the worst putters in the world, and so, really, like, if you're like, oh, it doesn't really bother me anymore. Like, you're like, oh, you're a terrible putter. I'm like, I know. I've been this way for my whole life. So that's why I was like, give me the yips. Give me the yips. Because some days are going to be worse than others. Like, from someone that's had them, some days it's not going to be that bad. Like, you might miss one. But then the other days it's going to be pretty bad. So.
Yeah. No, I get it. I think, I would love to hear more from other people about this one. That's super fascinating.
Yeah, I told you, and I don't want to say the word, but it's like, it has to be out there. And I honestly think the more you say it, the less likely it's going to happen. That's my thinking behind it. Same with Shank.
Ugh.
I also have a dog named Shank, so maybe that helps. Like, maybe it's just always in my mind. So, like, the thought of it even being in there is not really that big of a deal. So
that's super healthy of you. Super healthy of you. It's funny we both went with golf-related questions and kind of a similar style question. I'm going to, next week, challenge the both of us. We got to go, like, non-golf questions.
Non-golf questions
We're
next
doing
week.
it. We're getting into some stuff.
Yep.
All right. Would you rather only have a hole-in-one on, like, a par 3 pitch and putt type course, or just, like, never have a hole-in-one?
Never have a hole-in-one.
Okay, that was immediate.
Never. The pitch and putts don't count.
Oh.
They don't. They don't.
I get it.
In the terms of a regulation course, it's not a regulation course. So to me, it's like putting a cup in your backyard and, like, holing out with a plastic ball. It's no different. Like, when I see guys like, oh, I was like, this is my first hole in, I'm like, oh, but it isn't. It's not a hole in one. Like, sorry.
I think I came in.
Like, if anybody plays a par 3 course enough,
yeah.
like, they're gonna have a hole in one. But if you're playing regulation courses all the time, there's a pretty good chance that you might, like, when you're playing a course that's like, again, you're playing normal par 3s and things.
Yeah, you probably have 3 or 4 par 3s around on, like,
not
quote unquote regulation
18
course.
Or 9 or whatever your par 3 course is. Like, you're getting 4 shots, maybe 5 depending on the course.
Yeah,
maybe even 3. Honestly, some courses only have 3 par 3s.
Yeah,
you're not getting that many chances every time. So the chance of you going your whole entire life without having one is a lot more than if you're playing a par 3 and you get 9 of them or 18. There's some par 3s that are 18 holes. You get 18 tries at something long enough, you're probably going to have one.
Yeah.
So
I think I came into this thinking I agreed with, did the ball go in the hole in one shot? Yes, that's a hole in one.
But where's the line draw? Is like putt not a hole in one? Like, is that a hole in one? But
I agree. Now, I think I'm listening more. I'm willing to listen to your argument on this one for sure. But yeah, you did shock me with how immediate that was.
Oh, this is a hard line for me because I see it all the time, and it's like, well, technically it's a hole in one. It's like, well, technically, I just had a hole in one today when I chipped the ball into my backyard. If that's how we're counting it, like, it's not a regulation course, but I went in the hole in one shot, so it's a hole in one. Like, no. And whoever counts those as hole in ones, get out of here. Like, Get out of here with that stuff.
I love this.
Like, someone, I actually know, and I bring this up because I ran into a guy, he's like, I have 17 hole in ones. I'm like, holy crap. Where at? Like, I always ask that. I'm like, most people can, even if they have that many, because I know a couple that have that many, like on actual courses, they remember every single one of them. I'm like, where at? He's like, well, I grew up on this par 3 course. I said, you're immediately shut down. I'm like, how many happened at the par 3 course? He goes, 16 of them. And I was like, you're done. Where was the one that actually counted? And then he said it was a executive course. It only had par 4s and par 3s. I said, that still doesn't count.
Ooh.
I said, you technically have 0, sir. And I just left the conversation. Because it doesn't. It's not a hole in one.
I appreciate your black and white approach to this.
You have to. How many hole-in-ones do we have out there? I mean, it's supposed to be something special, and if you're counting hole-in-ones on par 4 courses, executive courses, which is like 3s and 4s and par 3s, then I'll just, if I need one, I'll just go to the nearest par 3 and play it 14 times before I have one. Like it's a black and white to me, and there's no gray area, none.
I think I net out.
And age doesn't matter either, just for the record.
Sure.
So if you're an 8-year-old and you have a hole-in-one on a par 3, it's not a hole-in-one.
Man. I think it would be situational for me for that. I think where I net out is it becomes sort of like a footnote on your golf career, right? Like, if you make a hole-in-one on like a 90-yard hole playing a pitch and putt or whatever, I think I just would like file that away. Like, if I never had like a regulation hole-in-one, I'm not going to mention that. But if I have a regulation hole-in-one, I'd be like, I also made like one, at this little thing, whatever. It's just like an aside, an asterisk maybe, if you will.
See, I don't even, because our buddy Ryan had a hole-in-one at a par 3 course at Brightleaf in Kentucky, and I guarantee if you ask him, he does not count that as a hole-in-one. I know he won't. No way.
We'll ask
and it's not even like, one time. I bet he probably even forgot about it. Like, he probably barely remembers it. So, it's a black and white.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
I respect
not.
it. The moral of the story, neither you or I have a hole-in-one yet, and I look forward to when we're...
And that's the thing, is someone that has not had a hole-in-one, if I took one of my kids out to a par 3 course and had a hole-in-one out there, I wouldn't be like, first hole-in-one. I wouldn't do it. Like, no. First off, no.
Tough love.
Yeah. It's just not going to happen. So
I look forward to, when we're in our 70s and we're going to go play an executive course just trying to get our hole-in-one. It's going to be a great time back then.
I won't do it. No, I won't do it. Like, I'm going to play regulation courses until I have one. This is going to happen. It is. It's a black and white thing, and I think most people would agree with me.
All right, well, we got 2 patio questions.
And that's the thing, is most people that wouldn't agree with me are probably ones that have them on par 3s or par executive courses.
That's fair.
So
that's fair. Well, we got 2 patio beer questions, I think, that we're thought-provoking. We're asking the hard-hitting questions here.
Next week is non-golf related, though.
Next week we're making a promise, non-golf.
And I almost did it this week, but...
So did I. I had a long list, and it just felt like this was appropriate.
Yeah, that's a good question.
All right, and that pretty much does it here for episode 2 of the Back 9 6-Pack. We, looking ahead to next week, we're hoping to get out and play some golf. We have
hopefully better weather. Today sucked.
Couple windows of good weather, but then it's cold again. This fake Cincinnati summer, spring, winter mix we end up going.
We got teased last week.
It's brutal. But as far as the tour goes, I mean, they're going to play the team event in Zurich. I probably won't catch much of this one.
Maybe a little bit. It's fun, but it's not something I'll sit down and watch.
Yeah, no doubt. So with that, hey, give us a follow on social media at Back9 We're on Instagram and Twitter right now. Maybe trying to get our parents involved. We might get a Facebook set up here or something like that. But yeah, more content to come from us on.
Yeah, and if you do listen to our podcast, give us a review. Maybe leave a comment. You can tell us how much we suck.
Subscribe, sorry.
Like, just give us a 5-star and tell us in the comment section how much we suck.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Truthfully, even if you don't listen, we are here for the downloads.
Exactly.
We'd love for you to listen.
Yeah, exactly.
Just give us a download.
Yep.
Also, hey, if you want to, we don't have a listener line yet. Shoot us a question. We have a Gmail account.
Yeah, if you have our cell phone numbers, shoot us that or email it to us or slide into the DMs.
Yeah. Back9 at gmail.com. That's with the number 9 in it, to clarify. And with that, I think we're going to wrap episode 2.
All right.
Cheers.
See you next week. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Back 9 6-Pack. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Back 9 6-Pack for all your content needs. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.